Hello, welcome back. I wanted to do something a little bit different today. Don't worry, for those watching the Tetra series, that will be back. There will be more. But I wanted to do something today that was a little different, and it's an essential skill for learning how to develop. Is learning how to ask questions. It's also learning how to ask good questions, learning how to search for things that you need, and just other general information finding related type items. So what I want to do today is I want to start basically the beginning of another series of videos where I go to Stack Overflow and we just look around, we answer questions, I complain about things, and we have a lot of fun. And that is, I guess that's why I called the blog Grumbling Bugs. This was the video I had in thought or had in mind for that kind of series. So let's go to Stack Overflow. For those of you who don't know, Stack Overflow is part of the Stack Exchange network. Stack Exchange, basically, they're a series of websites that you can ask questions and get answers from other real humans. There's a whole voting system, there's reputation, there's all this other stuff that goes on, and Stack Overflow is the site that is for programming and programming related stuff. Now there are other sites. There's Server Fault, which is for like sysadmin type roles. So if you're maintaining a server but not really writing code, then that's really where to ask those questions like how do I install this or that, or how do I how do I do different server related functions, how do I open ports, how do I all those different things. Then there's what are the other ones? There's a gaming one for asking questions about gaming logic and stuff like that. There are so many different tech related ones. I highly recommend just going through and looking at them. Now there's also non-tech related ones. There's ones about photography, about English language, about Russian. There's so many different Stack Exchange sites. They're a huge network, and it's a really great place to get information. So what I wanted to do today is, really quick, I'll just show you. Stack Overflow is one of the few that they offer in other languages. So Stack Overflow is available in Portuguese and in English, and they're looking at coming out with a Spanish one. I believe they have. It keeps coming up and disappearing, but they do have a Japanese one. They have. They have a couple different ones. So if you speak a different language natively, and you want to ask programming related questions, there might be one in your language. Right now I think there's only the 3, and hopefully there'll be some more coming up soon. Alright, so how to ask a good question. So I figured the way that I was going to show you this was, instead of just telling you how to write a good question with some example, I was just going to go through some of the features of the site for people with high enough reputation to look at other people's questions, and we'll look at why they're good and why they're bad, and see if maybe that will help you try to decide how to ask good questions and stuff like that. If for those in the Thinkful community, if you're asking questions on Slack, it's obviously not required to follow this type of format, but it's great if you could, provide some code samples with it, explain what's going on, explain what's wrong, instead of just, I have this code and it's not working. It's really helpful if you say what's not working. So, this jQuery selector isn't working, or this button's not doing what I want when I click on it. Something to help us locate where the problem is. So, let's look at other people's questions. All right, so. Okay, so this is one of those features for once you get a high enough reputation. I think it's 500. I can't remember. It's in the help guide. Will show you like how much reputation you need for certain things. But once you start answering a bunch of questions, they start releasing these new features for you. And one of them, a lot of them are review based, and so what it is people that are experienced with the site go into the site, and we get to read questions based by mostly by people with one reputation. So they're brand new users; they've never asked questions before, and we just want to make sure that they're asking good questions. There's a couple rules, and we try to stick by the rules of Stack Overflow when we take a look at these things. This one is a side effect. So this is the user's first answer on Stack Overflow to this question, right? And so basically my job when I look at these is to, based on the question, is this a good answer? And this is a comment, but it's not his fault. So I do have to downvote him according to the policy. But the side effect is you can't comment until you have 10 or 15 reputation. Well, how are you supposed to comment on things when you're a brand new user? And that's been a question that's been asked in the forums between all the Slack, the Stack Overflow users of how do we handle this, and why is it set that way? The reason it's that way is because of spam bots, stuff like that. We don't want people writing scripts that create new users and then just put all sorts of comments everywhere just to spam everything. I mean, yes, there's tracking ways for us to shut them down, but it's kind of nice if we just don't have that problem in the beginning. Okay, another thing I'm going to note is when I'm going through these Stack Overflow ones, I'm going to use every language I know. If it's a SQL question, I'll look at it. If it's a Ruby on Rails question, JavaScript, Angular, Backbone, C#, MVC, ASP.NET, any of those languages that I happen to know and have some experience with, I will be answering them. So I'm going to take a completely language agnostic approach to this. And this isn't going to be just a JavaScript thing or just a front end. This is going to cover everything that I can. And once I learn some Python and some Dart and some other languages, then I'll probably start throwing those in there too. So, okay, so this is a question. So this was the user again, one reputation. This is their first one. And the tags down here at the bottom tell you what it's about. So this is a Windows Forms question with a C# language using Visual Studio 2013. Okay, so I'm trying to call a method run in script 1, call method alert or wait. So basically my job here is not to answer the question in this reviewing phase, but did they ask a good question? And this is a great example. So they said, I'm trying to do this. Then they said, they're explaining what's going on, and then they say, but the code has an error. Then they list the code. Then they say it'll only work in this because this returns other classes, maybe it's not correct. They give information about it, and then they start giving some context. Context is extremely important in developing. We have to know, you can't just say this line of code isn't working. Well, we need to know pieces of your HTML, pieces of your CSS, pieces of your controllers and your modules, your active record stuff, your need to know pieces of all these different things for all these different languages to figure out what's really going on behind the hood, because code isn't just one line. So there's a lot of things in how they interact. So they're giving context here. They're saying this is form 1 CS, this is function CS, here is script 1 CS. Then they have an attempt, not the best solution, and they showed what they tried to do, but it's just not working. So this is great. This is an absolutely excellent, wonderful question. They said what's wrong, then they gave the code that's actually the problem, and then they explained a little bit about what's going on and what they think, and then they showed their context, and then they tried a solution, and it's just not working. This is perfect. This is exactly what Stack Overflow. I'm gonna do that a lot. Stack Overflow is looking for, is needs, and these are the questions that are going to get a lot of attention and a lot of answers. So do be sure to try to give context, to give your problems, and be very specific. Your question should not be 2 lines. If it's 2 lines, there's a problem. Okay, so here's an answer by a new user. So the original question was, I can't get Ruby gems to work on Cloud 9. Pretty straightforward answer, but they're also giving some context. They're giving some environment path information. This is really good. So that's a good question by one user. or a level 1 user. And then this is looks like a great answer. It's got good form. I haven't read it, but I had the same issue. This is, what was going on. This looks like a great answer. So it's formatted right. I'm not going to read, when we're doing these reviews, we don't read them for every single line of detail. We're just judging them based on, is it good? Is it bad? Can I leave a comment? Do I need to edit it? Do I need to flag it for a moderator? Does it contain profanity? Does it violate the rules of Stack Overflow? Whatever it is. So that looks great. Okay. Here's another answer. So the original question was Drupal 7 links generated by views do not appear on the homepage for anonymous users. Okay, so great title as well. Also having a good title, not just, can you help me fix code? Or CSS problem. Those are really bad titles. Like, be specific. Sum it up in one line. So Drupal 7 links generated by views do not appear on the homepage for anonymous users. That's beautiful. That's a great title. And again, by a level 1 user. Great question. And then someone says, okay, I was able to create a view that listed some content links and showed users not authorized to see the content of such links, giving some stuff, and then even a link. A link to the other Stack Exchange site. So there's a Stack Exchange site for Drupal that will give them more specific answers. I know WordPress, Drupal, maybe Django. A lot of different languages have these. So that's a great answer, giving them a good reference, and also telling them some things to maybe attempt to try. Answers on Stack Overflow aren't necessarily always right. Okay. Okay, migration from local server to Azure, time zone UTC, how to solve. It's giving context, and then it is asking how to solve. Those usually you want to leave out those phrases. How do I fix this? Obviously, you are looking for how to fix something because you're posting a question on here. So just try to give context and stuff like that. So, decent question. But this is considered a low-grade answer. Even though the context of this might be right, links change. Blogs go offline. Sites get shut down. Content gets taken off or moved to somewhere else. It's unreliable when it's not actually in Stack Overflow. It is great to leave links, but you should always copy the relevant code inside of your answers or inside of your questions. Don't just, don't give a link to, here's my JS fiddle with the problem and give a link. It's great if you're like, here's the problem I'm having, here's some code, and here's the link to JS fiddle. That's a great way to do it, because then they get interactiveness, they get the link, and they have the code that's right there in the answer that they can, or in the question or the answer that they can read immediately. So this is, this is great, but this is more of a comment as well. It's not really answering the question. It's just, I wrote this blog post. Hopefully it'll help. Here's a link. So this is more of a comment. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to comment on it. Well, this link may be... Oh, here's the other thing about these reviews. Like when we're going through these, they make sure that we're actually doing it right. Congratulations, this is only a test designed to make sure you're paying attention. You passed. Downvoting, editing, flagging is very low quality, or voting to close are all appropriate actions in this case. All right, so I passed the test. So, they do this just to make sure we're not just clicking, yeah, next, next, next. And we're actually taking a look at them. And every so often, the queue gets cleared out. And I was really hoping to show you guys the triage one. Oh, here's one. Okay, so triage is a new category. A question comes in that the computer thinks is low quality. It can be by any level user. And the way that this is meant to be, I'm taking already too long on this. This is meant to be a really quickly look at the question. Did they provide information? Did they provide context? And it's almost never in a language that you understand. It's just, did they make a good question? Yes or no? And then move on. So looks okay, should be improved, unsalvageable. Well, let's take a little bit of time to look at this. They have a great question. Why does angle calculation return only values 0 or -1? Cool. Then they also say it's Arduino, accelerometer, and angle. So those are the 3 tags on it. So obviously they're doing some Arduino work. So this is probably Java. And so they provided code. They provided links to to the technology that they're using, they're clearly stating, here's my issue. Everything I calculate comes back to 0 or -1. So obviously, I'm either passing something wrong or converting something wrong. I'm unsure what. Thought I would post this here to see if anyone has a suggestion. Beandocs say I should use an int t, an int 16t, but they also sometimes use a uint 16t or int. Not sure what to follow. Okay, so this is a good question. They tell them what they're trying to do, the issue they're having, some links to the technologies that they're using. They show some code, give context, and then they tag it appropriately. So this is a great question. So this looks okay. Oh, and then once so many people say that it looks okay, then the last person to vote on it, which was me, out of 3, because they have to be 3 agreeing answers, then it's my job to upvote it. Okay. Let's see. Counting the length of the text box. I want to try that if they input only 2 characters in the first name, also display because 3 characters and up is readable. Thanks. Okay, this is, I'd say, a low quality answer. This should be improved. They are saying kind of what's going on, but they're not really giving specific details. It's kind of hard for me to figure out what's going on. NetBeans 8 is an IDE. What language is this? This looks like Java, I think. But again, there's not enough information for me to figure out what's going on. There's no context, really. I mean, this isn't even in a method. This is just some script. I don't have enough to answer this. I would have to ask them, hey, can you show me some other stuff? What language are you using? Other things like that. So this is definitely should be improved. Okay, how to construct a PCRE regex that matches double hyphens and comments in malformed XML. Okay, so they give good question. You also don't really need the question mark, but cool. And then XML files, giving some, they're giving like this is correct and then this fails. So they tried something and then they're trying to figure out what to do. Right, so this looks like a good question. There's a bunch of comments on it already, clarification, stuff like that. This is a good question. Looks okay. Congratulations, only a test. I passed. Haha. See, they're testing us all over the place. So if we're downvoting you, it's because we have to, or else we could actually get suspended from being able to review things for a while. Okay, so this one's already downvoted a lot, and but that doesn't mean that it's really a bad question. Maybe I need to give them another shot. But let's take a look at it. JavaScript, PHP, CSS, HTML5, project. I hope it's Microsoft project. Please do use the tags appropriately. Don't just, I hope they're not meaning, oh, I'm doing a project. Read the tags, and if it doesn't match, oh, well, okay. Actually, Microsoft projects use the MS project. In software development, a project is a collection of files or resources used in the development or application of a service. Okay. Technically, he used the tag correctly. However, I feel like it's an unneeded tag. We know you're working on a project, or else you wouldn't be here. Okay. I'm designing a new chat application that will compete with the current way we chat. I am looking for a partner who is looking good at designing UI. This is a job. Yeah, this is a job. This is advertising. This is clearly not allowed on Stack Overflow. So this is, I'm going to mark this as what is it? Should be closed. Spam. Yeah, effectively an advertisement with no disclosure is not useful or relevant, but promotional. So I'm going to flag the question, and moderator's going to come and take a look at it. So do not ask for help as far as like I need to hire somebody to do something. That's not a good thing to do on Stack Overflow and get you in trouble and your account suspended pretty quickly. Okay, so it looks like the review queues are all done. So hopefully we can kind of, please go back, take a look at some of these questions, pause the video and read them. If you'd like. I know I go pretty quickly, but that's because I know you can rewind and pause and do those things. Plus, I want to, show a bunch of content. I want to actually get through the goal. All right, so let's go to Stack Overflow. For those of you who are looking to answer questions, this is a great thing to do. Set up your favorite tags. So what you do is you can go in here and you can mark things and languages and just any of the tags that you know. So what was one? Yeah, I don't see that on here. I'm going to add Rust. It's a new language that I learned. And so when you add these tags, they start to pop up, and things that are highlighted in yellow are things that match your tags. Then you have ignored tags, and things that don't match your tags, best way to see that is in here, they dim. And so you have said that you want to ignore, where is it? It's somewhere here. Related, I don't know. You want to ignore some of these. So if they're yellow and they pop up like this, then that means you have favorited the tag. If they're white, that means you haven't said either way. And if they're dimmed, it means that you have asked to not not really pay attention to that. So it kind of like filters the things based on the languages you know. So that can be helpful when you're trying to contribute. All right, so what I'm going to do is we're just going to go through some of this stuff. I'm going to try to find some that I can answer, hopefully, and we'll see how we answer questions and how I debug code, how I figure things out when I'm going through students' questions, stuff like this. This is interesting. Rails 4, how to display 5-star images. Okay, I'm able to review 5 stars for a rating of 5 for an article and 4 stars for a rating of 4. A reference. What I'd like to do is display star off PNG if a rating is not 5 stars. For example, if a rating is 3, display 3 star on PNG and 2 star off. What? Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense. So he's literally just images for stars. Okay, although I knew some gems such as Raterate? I don't try to pronounce things. I'd like to know how to describe without using gems. Okay, cool. So he gives this is his helper. He's doing a render stars function that takes in a value, so probably an integer, 1 to 5. Setting an output equal to an empty string, not really needed in Ruby. If a range of 1 to 5 includes this number, and floor is a mathematical function that will remove the decimal. It basically rounds the number down. Value floor, why is he flooring the value twice? And he should, for more efficiency, you should probably assign this to a variable, like bring it in and then floor the value, assign it to a variable, and then that way you're not calling the function twice. And then he's multiplying that, or he's doing it that number of times. So this will give him like 3. So value floor will resolve to 3, and then 3 dot times will cause this block to execute 3 times. So output plus equals image tag star on. So that'll create, if it's a 3, it'll create 3 image tags in the output. And then if a value equals value floor plus 0.5, I guess that's to round up. No, that's a half. If value equals so if it's something and a half, and the value to an integer does not equal 5, output image tag star half, and output HTML safe. Okay, and then if article rating blank, so this would be, you can combine this with the unless keyword. Render stars article dot rating. Okay, so the answer that's provided is, I suggest changing the approach to start with a loop of 5 for the 5 stars and determine whether each position in the loop is on, half, or off star. Also used array, the array concatenator, or whatever they call this, instead of plus equals when appending strings because it's faster. Agreed. Okay, so this is actually a great question to like look at and start to answer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and answer this. So let's take his helper that he has, right? And we're going to paste it down here in Stack Overflow to make a code block. Put 4 spaces. And then paste your code. And then you can also see down here exactly what's going on as you're working with it. So I'm going to do 2 indents. Okay, so now we have a properly formatted code block, which is really important. Okay, so we're going to take a look and let's see if we can figure out a better way to do this. So one of the things I said was, I guess I see, because he wants to use the array, which makes sense. So I guess it makes sense that he's doing this output like this. But then we need to kind of rework some of this. So the first thing is, what I would do if I were working on this, I would do if, well, first I would get, let's call it floored equals value dot floor, and then I would say if floored equals 5, let's see, so the first thing we need to do is we need to create the number of actual output stars, right, that are on. So let's because it's always going to go left to right, I'm assuming. So I would do output, and then we'll do, or actually, no, we do want to do floored times block output image or tag star on PNG, and then close the block. So that's going to give us, oops, can't tab in Stack Overflow. Okay, so this is going to give us, so that's floored, but then value, so then if there's a half, how do I get the, oops, no, stay on the page. Okay, how to get decimal part of float Ruby. So when searching for answers, use Google very frequently. It's great to, you can start out with how to get, because most people, that's what they type it in as, and then say what you're looking for. So I'm looking for the decimal part of, and then this is the type of number that it is, and then what language I want it in. So when you're typing out queries in search engines to try to find some code, use stuff like this, or you could say JavaScript, how to, divide in, I don't know, just give, or like jQuery, how to append, stuff like that. Like, those are the types of queries that are going to give you the best results. So here, boom, perfect. Get fraction part of decimal number. Right off the bat, I get it. So exactly what we're looking for. 123, and I want to get 23. Maybe too easy, but does anyone have an idea? And then here's the accepted answer. So I'm not sure of the easiest way, but you can simply split the number using the period character like this. Okay, this is due to the fact that Ruby is duck typed, which means even if it's a real number, it's still a string. So you can number toString and split, and then bang, you grab the second part of it. So this is going to work for us, actually. Or the other way you could do it is if you take the value subtracted by the floored value, which should, if you have 2.5, when you floor it, it should become 2. And then if you subtract 2 from 2.5, you will get 0.5. So that's the next thing I would do, actually. So, you know, again, looking at some of these questions can help you, even though if you don't go with this, it will give you, here's some other ways to do it. Yeah, you can convert a float to an integer and subtract from the original float value. Well, yeah, that's essentially doing the same thing as flooring. So this is really the solution that we were looking for. Yeah, so that's basically what they're doing here. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to do value minus value dot, or sorry, floored, now that we have our variable. And we will set that equal to, or if, we can put this in an if value minus floored, let's go ahead and put that in parentheses. It helps with, you know, keeping things clean. If that equals 0.5, then we will add in this star f, right? So then we will output our star half. Okay, so we've refactored this star on, so that's no longer needed, and we've also refactored this here. So the last thing to do is we need to output the rest of the stars. So we've got, let's take the example 2.5, right? So we're handling, it'll be 2 full stars and then a half star, but we still need 2 more stars. So, so what we can do is, I mean, really simple. We know exactly how many stars might be there. So we can go 5 minus floored, which will give us 3, which is slightly inaccurate. Let's see. Let's say that this is greater than or equal to, because I can see where if it's like 2.7, then he might want that. So we'll put a comment in here that's just talking about that. I'm going to comment this code up and kind of explain what's going on. So that might help. So 5 minus, okay, so how do we do this? What's 5 minus 2.5? That's 2.5, and then if we floor that, we get 2. So if you take 5, minus the value, right, and then you floor that, then you can say times, and you want to do output, and then your image tag star off .png. All right. So, and then you just output the HTML safe. So this is the refactored thing that I believe should work. So now we need to add some context to this and kind of explain what's going on. So, let's see, what should we say? Let's see. let's see, I've reworked, well, you can read your code a little to try and handle all the cases for efficiency, or C comments. So I can just do that, C comments, right? And then I'm going to place some comments in here. So here, let's see, that's already just part of his original code. So I'm going to say saved code to, or save to variable for efficiency. So actually what I'm going to do is, because this is kind of a larger larger piece of code, I'm actually going to I'm going to leave some of these comments on top. We're going to split this up, so it's not going to be a nice condensed, but it's going to be more annotated, and they're going to appreciate the answer more because it's going to explain what's kind of going on. So we're going to say here the let's see, adding full stars if value is 2.5, then floored will be 2. So 2 full stars. Just kind of trying to explain what I'm doing, obviously. And we'll format this nicely so that when he comes to read it, it'll kind of hopefully be a little more readable. Let's see. Alright, so here we're getting the decimal part of the value by subtracting the floored value by the value. So if value is 2.7, then will be 7. Okay, so then we're saying if the value minus floored is greater than or equal to 0.5. So I'm going to, let's see, change to greater than or equal than to account for ability to use numbers like 2.7 and will display a half star. If you would like to only let's put that on the other line, handle 0.5, then change back to the double equals. Okay, so that's annotating that, and then here we kind of explain that, and then here completes the value, completes the number, completes the sequence of 5 stars. Example, 5 minus 2.5 let's see, we'll say if value is 2.5, then 5 minus 2.5 is 2.5. Let's do a different example, right? So 2.7, just so that he doesn't see the same numbers. So then the value is 2.3, right? Yeah, 3 plus 7 should be 10. Is 2.3. Then we floor that value, giving us, let's see, if value is 2.7, then let's see, the output will already have two full stars and 1/2 star. So by flooring that number, we will get, so by flooring 2.3, we will get 2, which completes the total of 5 stars. All right, so we have taken his method, we've reworked it, and then I explained what's going on. I explained how I changed it, how I'm, some ways that he could take it back to his original functionality if he'd like, and trying to really explain what's going on, why I did the things I did, and hopefully try to show some of the methods for this. So this is, yes, giving him the answer he needs, but it's also providing him the understanding, or her, whoever HM1 is. No, Samurai Blue. I don't know. Providing them with, the ability to pick up some of these tricks. So we're going to go ahead and post the answer. And I'm going to upvote their question because it was a good question. They showed their attempt. That's the biggest thing, is show that you tried. Try something. If you watch the Tetris video, I didn't know Tetris episode 2. I didn't know how to create this object that I wanted to represent the shapes. All I did was I had no idea what to do, so I did something. That's the biggest thing in code, is just go out there and do something. Type something in your computer and start putting together something. Once you start getting something on the page, light bulbs should start going off, and start thinking about the differences. And as you saw, we ended up at that episode with something that was a lot more workable and human readable, and as you could see, was a lot more clearly defined than just a 3-level deep array, which is really ugly. So yeah, so hopefully this helps them, answers their question, gives them something that might work for them, as well as some understanding of stuff. But yeah, just do something, try something, and post what you've tried. It's a lot easier to debug code once we see some, than just answering a theoretical question of, well, how do I do this? I don't even know where to start. Just start somewhere. If all you have is just a click handler or something, and that's all you have, that's great. You tried. You at least tried. And that's what we want to see. So, yeah. So this has gone a little long, probably. So I'm going to end it here. I hope you guys learned some stuff. And I'm definitely going to be doing more of these. Again, I'm going to be completely language agnostic. I will do JavaScript. I'll do anything I know. So, yeah, I hope you guys are enjoying some of these videos, please, in a future video, this will be really cool, I'm going to be upgrading my site to add comments, and I'm going to show you how I do it. I'm going to take you through it as I do it, and that's going to be really cool. So, yeah, hopefully you'll be able to leave comments soon. Otherwise, figure out how to get me a message. I'd love to see your questions and messages. All right, have a good one.